Hey, what's happening, family? Welcome to What They Didn't Teach Us. Okay, if you're here, it's because you're ready to take control of your finances, build wealth, and create the future that you and your family deserve. I'm your host, Tyler, and this channel is all about empowering people like you and me, especially those of us who were never taught how to properly manage our money, but how to make smart financial decisions. Okay, today I'll be going over all things budgeting. Like, what is a budget? Okay, why do we need one? And how will it help us reach our financial goals? Then we'll end the video by completing a live budget. Okay, we're gonna go through it line by line so that you guys can create your own budget that suits you best. So y'all stay tapped in with us. I'll see you on the other side. What is a budget? A budget is a financial plan that estimates how much money you'll make and spend over a specific period of time. Okay, my definition is just simply a written plan for your money. Okay, now there are several different types of budgets. Okay, that we're not going to cover today. We're going to focus on one. Right, this budget is one that I've used. I still currently use, and this is also one that I've helped many others use in their own lives for their own financial goals. Right, and so that budget is called the zero-based budget. Right, and that's where your income minus your expenses equals zero. All right. So with this budget, you are assigning every dollar that you make a job. Okay. Every dollar has a job. All right. So when you get done with this budget at the bottom, it should read zero. All right. Because there should be nothing left over. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have any money left over. It just simply means that you've assigned every dollar a job. Okay. Now, cons to this is, it takes a little while to get used to. Typically takes people anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to really catch their stride when it comes to being efficient with this budgeting method. The pro to this is, it gives you a level of control that most people have never felt when it comes to, their financial goals, right? So within this budget, there's two main funds that we typically see. Okay, one, and probably the most important in the immediate future, is the emergency fund. All right, and so an emergency fund is, as it reads, the fund for emergencies. Okay, so Murphy's Law states if something can happen, it will happen at some point, right? Which, in terms of this means if something bad can happen, eventually it will happen. Well, why not have a fund sitting on the side waiting for that, right? Like we need to be proactive with our finances and not reactive. And an emergency fund allows us to do that, right? So an emergency fund, as far as the amount, consists of about 3 to 6 months of your monthly living expenses, okay? Now, this does not include your wants, all right? But 3 to 6 months of your needs, right? Your needs are the line items that fall under housing, food, utilities, and transportation, okay? So you're going to store this emergency fund in a high yield savings account. High yield savings account is pretty dope because you actually get to earn interest on that uninvested money, right? So typically you see anywhere from 4 to 5% with most of these high yield savings accounts, that you can look to gain in interest compounded at whatever interval that institution allows, right? And we store our money here because we want it to be somewhere where we can get access to it, right? We want it to be liquid, right? Which just means, easy access, all right? Now, here are a couple of things you want to use this emergency fund for. One, of course, loss of employment. You have repairs on your home or car, or any health expenses that you may have to pay for yourself or for your family. All right. Now, the next type of fund that's pretty important here when it comes to our zero-based budgeting is our sinking funds. All right. And so this allows us to plan for a future expense by putting small amounts in a fund over a period of time. Okay. Now, this keeps us from using credit cards to purchase things before we have the actual cash on hand. One of the more common examples of a sinking fund is the fund that people create for Christmas. We're currently in January. Let's say I decided to commit to spending $1,200 for this upcoming Christmas. Okay. Well, what you do is you create a sinking fund for Christmas. All right. And what you do is you take the total amount that you want to allot for that future expense, right, which would be $1,200 in this case, and you divide it by the months between the future expense date and where you're at now. All right. So we're in January. That's 12 months from December. I know I need to actively put away $100 per month into that Christmas sinking fund in order to have that $1,200 by the end of the year. Some other ways that you could use sinking funds do include, but are not limited to, insurance premiums, birthdays, again, holidays, anniversaries, and vacations. Okay. Now, debt management. All right. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. This is pretty simple. Okay. The way you manage your debt is to just simply pay it back. All right. We don't want you guys drowning in debt. All right. Debt is something that we can avoid for the most part when it comes to consumer debt. Okay. So, let's do all we can to avoid that because your income is your most powerful wealth building vehicle. Okay. So don't waste it paying interest, and you could be using that money to earn interest. Okay. Now, some of the average debt payments that we see here in America include $690 plus, right, for an auto loan. $500, over $500 for personal loans people typically pay back. And this is not just one loan. This could be, a collection of personal loans. And then $6,500 plus is the average balance that the American citizen carries, which is insane. So the thing is, if you have the debt, it is what it is. The decisions have already been made, right? But we have ways that you can use, or methods that you can use to pay that debt off. All right, and there's two main methods. There's other methods that we're not going to get into today, but there are two main methods that I like to talk about. One being the most notable, and that's the debt snowball. And so that's where you would line your expenses up from lowest balance to highest balance, and you attack that lowest balance, with all you got. You pay the minimum payment on everything else, and you put anything extra that you have into that lowest balanced debt until it is paid off. Then you take the amount that you were paying toward that, and you roll it over to the next smallest debt line that you have. Okay. Now, debt avalanche. That one's pretty simple as well. It's where you would target the highest interest rate first. Get that knocked out. It typically takes a little bit, longer than the debt snowball because of the success rate is so low. People tend to tap out, right? The beautiful part about the debt snowball is you have a better shot of seeing yourself or seeing the progress of the debt, being paid off. You have a better chance doing that with the debt snowball than you do with the debt avalanche. Okay, so it's just something to consider there. Now, when to use debt, this is some of the wins, right? But there are other reasons that you should use debt. I typically tell people to avoid debt, especially if you don't have the discipline to use it in a way that would benefit your family's financial situation best. But here are some acceptable reasons for buying a home. Okay, having a mortgage, it's not a bad thing because it is an investment, right? And the housing market is constantly increasing, year after year. So buying a home is definitely an acceptable way to use debt. If you have the cash amount on hand and, maybe you have one of those credit cards that, allows you to earn points or, some cash back rewards there, and you have the discipline to allow that balance to hit your credit card and then pay it off in full, okay, before that card's reporting date, I feel that is an acceptable way to use your credit card or debt in that scenario. And then lastly, of course, there's other reasons that you use that to save on taxes, okay? Now we're gonna get into our live budgeting. So y'all sit tight, man, and stay tuned. I created this budget tracker, man. I'm going to drop it in the comments so that you guys could use it if you'd like. I have the name of the income here on this very far left column here. And then you have the amount, right? So what you're getting paid from that income source here in this column. Then you have the expense column, the name of, and the amount of the expense. And then the type, okay? And there's a drop down here where you can select the type. All right. So the sum of this column is going to show here, right? So whatever you put here, let's say this guy makes about $5,000 a month, $2,500 a check. And the math has already been done for us and it's listed here, okay? Now, I have a couple of line items for this guy. This guy's name's Johnny. And, we're going to go over his budget line by line, okay? So I am a big proponent of giving, okay? I feel as if we are stewards of the income that we have, right? So it's only right to give back what was already was previously given us. And so Johnny agrees with me, except he doesn't agree with the 10% part. So let's say Johnny puts $200 there. So Johnny's gonna commit to giving $200 a month to his church or some local charity, okay? Now, he has not yet created his emergency fund, all right? So he's starting from zero. So what I typically advise people is we're not gonna shoot for the moon. We're not gonna fully fund this emergency fund right away, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna save up to $2,000, okay, for our starter emergency fund. And once we get to $2,000, we're going to stop paying toward our emergency fund and we're going to attack debt, okay? Because debt, we can clear that out. Now we have more disposable income that we can put toward, fully funding our emergency fund and then also saving and investing later on. All right. So for this example, he's going to put $500, toward his emergency fund each month. So we're going to put that right there. His rent is about $1,500 a month. Okay, not $15,000. And then his renter's insurance is about $15 a month. He has about $100 light bill and about a $50 water bill. Okay, he spends about $400 on groceries, $500 a month on his car note, and he only pays about $120 on auto insurance. Okay, now he works in town, so he spends about $200 a month on fuel or gas. All right, he is funding his emergency fund, so he's not going to put anything into his maintenance account just yet. All right, he pays about $75 a month for his phone and $75 a month for his internet. Okay, now he has a kid that is in daycare, and his monthly daycare charge is about $600 a month. Life insurance is $50 a month. Okay, and really quick, I'm not a life insurance agent, but I do want to briefly mention the importance of life insurance. Over the past 60 days from the recording of this video, I've witnessed 5 or 6 untimely deaths, meaning there was nothing wrong with these people. Health-wise, everything, was good to go, right? At least from the outside looking in, and their deaths were unexpected. So if you think that you're exempt from, being called home, you are sadly mistaken, right? Because none of us know when we're gonna die. So put yourself and your family, right? Well, not yourself, put your family in a position to succeed financially, whether you're here or not, by just having life insurance. And I think at minimum, a term life insurance that covers all of your debt, your funeral costs, and at least 5 years of your annual salary. Okay, having that for anywhere from a 10 to 20-year term, at minimum, okay, should be something we all strive to have in our portfolio, okay, or in our budgets. All right, and listen, Johnny, our imaginary budget example here, he has that. He pays $50 a month for term life insurance. Okay, now on a lighter note, Johnny has some debt. Okay, and he pays about $50 a month for his personal loan. Okay, he has 2 credit cards. One has a minimum payment of $65, and then the other has a minimum payment of $35. Okay, cool. All right. Now we're gonna go into our miscellaneous fund. All right, so he allots $200 for his miscellaneous fund. This fund typically covers things anywhere from hair products to laundry detergent to, just random items, that you need to replenish around the house. So, he listed his for about $200. And so that's what we're going to go with. All right. So he has a Netflix account that he pays about $15 a month for. And then he has $200 for his fund money per month that he's allotting and $50 a month for eating out. Okay. Now, I've already tabbed these for y'all just for the sake of time here. All right. So everything that has a red needs tab falls in the needs category. Okay. The green, of course, is savings, and the yellow is wants. Okay. Now, we have a zero-based budget. Okay. We know that because his income, $5,000, minus his expenses, $5,000, equals zero. Okay. There is nothing else left over from this budget. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look to see if his budget fell under the 50, 30, 20 recommended percentages. Okay. And so no, it doesn't. All right. So he's 84% on needs, which is way too far left. He only spends 5% on his wants and 10% on his savings. Okay. Now, this is more than likely how your budget is going to look at first. All right. So, what we'll do is, we'll try to find ways to save money first. Okay. And then we're going to target debt payment. All right. We can get that paid off. But then while we're looking to pay off debt, we're going to also be looking for ways to earn extra income. Okay. So let's back up a little bit and let's see if we can find some ways to save some money here. Okay. So if I'm looking at this thing from top to bottom, okay, I'm not touching my giving, I'm not touching my emergency fund because it has to go. But the next thing that could be adjusted is my car note. Okay. So if I don't have the cash on hand to just pay off, my auto loan, what I could look to do is if I have positive equity in my car, and positive equity just simply means the worth of your car is higher than the debt that you owe or what's left of the loan. So let's say Johnny owes $10,000 on his auto loan, but his vehicle is worth $15,000. Okay, well, he has positive equity of $5,000. All right. So if I'm Johnny in this scenario, I know I can save $500 per month. Okay, because that's how much he pays in his monthly payment. I know I can save $500 per month by just simply selling my car, getting the positive equity of $5,000, and taking that money, buying a cash car. And what I could do is I could create a sinking fund, all right, which is the thing that we discussed earlier, which would essentially be him taking the 500 or another amount, putting toward maybe him upgrading his cash car at a later date, all right? So just for the sake of this, let's say he takes that 500 and he applies that to his other debt. So that's something to look at for sure. The next item is going to be the auto insurance. So auto insurance, let's be honest, most people don't check past one company, let alone two, when getting quotes for auto insurance. So, there's usually easily $200 to $300 of savings within a premium when it comes to auto insurance by simply just shopping around a little bit more. Okay. So, maybe we can save, anywhere from a month, $30 to $40 a month on our auto insurance payment by simply just shopping around. So there are some savings there that we can potentially, gain access to. All right. Now, phone, my man could go prepaid. I know Straight Talk and other companies alike have cheaper plans that, you can bring your own phone and, it'll allow you to have the same service at a discounted rate. The debt, once paid off, will free up $150 a month that he can put toward his emergency funds, he can put toward his investments, his savings. He can use it in several different ways because the thing is, wants are not needs. All right. You don't need Netflix. You don't need fun money. And you don't need to eat out if you have a grocery fund. So there's some wiggle room there. If I would like to take money from somewhere and add it to a debt or even an emergency fund. This is how I would budget $5,000 income, okay, based on these needs. Hopefully this helps someone. If you have questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer. But just remember, when it comes to your zero-based budget, every dollar should have a job. Okay, nothing should be sitting on the sidelines. All right. So this has been What They Didn't Teach Us. I'm out of here, man. Peace.